Rosa. I'm going to be presenting with Ismael and Carlos. Culture. Native people use the bead looms in prayer ceremonies, architecture, blankets, and other things. They would use the two-axis system, which was found in 1637. The Native Americans would use it way before. The Navajo would also use the four-fold symmetry for healing ceremonies. They would make stand paintings. The Yupik would use reflection and make clothing. And the Iroquois would use looms to make wampum belts. These belts were used to write down historical events and messages. The mathematical connection it has the beads use a two-axis system to place the beads. They also use a four-fold symmetry, which reflects everything in four directions on each axis. The way the beads are made, the connection the beads have to computer science is iteration, which means they repeat a pattern of repeating steps. The beads work is also like atoms, which are lined up in layers with holes in them.
Hello, my name is Ismael Hernandez, and I'm going to show you guys how to use the point, line, and rectangle settings on the virtual bead loom. So on the point, you'll see two coordinates, which is x and y. X is this horizontal line here, and y is the vertical. So if you put 2 and 2, and then you press create, it'll put 2 and 2 on wherever you put it on the graph. Now if you go to line, there are 2, which shows the first and second coordinates. So if you put -3, -3, 3 and 3, it'll start it at -3, 3, and end it up to 3 and 3. So if you press create, it'll make a line where you started and ended your coordinates. And if you do rectangle or just a square here, you do the same thing, and it'll start it here, end it here if you leave it on the same coordinates, but it'll go up to the other graphs or points and finish it. So if you press create, it'll make a yeah. And now Carlos,
And I'll be explaining what triangle, linear iteration, and triangular iteration means. For a triangle, you could put down any points and press create, and it'll sort of make a triangle anywhere where you put the points. Undo means you could undo it if you make a mistake. Redo puts it back if you accidentally deleted something. Linear iteration is basically like a trapezoid. You could put it anywhere to make a trapezoid. You just gotta put down the points at wherever you want. And triangle iteration basically means that it's gonna make a triangle, but from specific points, it's gonna make like a tower. For my design, how I made my design is I started at the origin. I reflected from every axis. For this, I used a triangle iteration starting from the middle, and then I used triangle iteration again from points of 0, 20, negative 20, 20, and 0, 20, negative 20. And then from there, I made it to where they connected to the middle square and used a different four-fold symmetry for each one so they connected. Thank you.
again, so this is my virtual bead loom thing. It's right here. It's this cross, I guess, with a bunch of more things on the outside. And the way I created my design was I started from the origin with a triangle alliteration, and I reflected it on every axis, so on X, Y, and just negative X and negative Y. And then I went on the outside of each one of those designs, and then I did the same thing starting 6, I think, or 8 units off the edges, and then I did the same thing, which the coordinates were 16, 0, negative 16, 0, 0, 16, and 0, negative 16, and then I reflected it across every axis on those, and I got this.
Hi, I'm Carlos, and I started my design by beginning at the origin. Then I mirrored it across every axis. I started off with a triangular iteration, and I made a square out of it. And then I wanted to add some lines, so I went for a cross line to make an X outside the square, and I wanted some more lines. So I just started messing around with the lines until I made